Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yeah, shut up over there. Take him out. Get rid of him. So it's happening. What the Democrats and media once called evil is now getting a facelift. And I'm not talking about this. No, what I'm saying is what they demonized before becomes less satanic as they shift to a new, far more evil target. And no, not him either. You know, you guys always assume I'm talking about him. He is evil. But you remember Donald Trump, right? Big orange guy with crazy hair, funny as hell, and got more done before 9 a.m. than Biden did all day. He was Hitler, Mussolini, and uncooked chicken all rolled into one. He was the worst thing that ever lived, and that includes whoever invented The View. But is he really that bad now that the despicably evil Ron DeSantis came to town? This monster flew illegal immigrants to a rich paradise on private jets. I know, what a So now DeSantis makes Trump look like Mr. Belvedere. Says the New York Times, quote, DeSantis may be a more competent Trump in terms of his ability to use the levers of state to amass power. But he's also meaner and more rigid, without the soft edges and eccentricity, I hate that word, of the actual Donald Trump. Wait, so he's so mean that half this country's population is moving to his damn state. But the shift from Don to Ron was fast. I mean, it was just last week that the left was accusing Trump of selling nuclear secrets with no proof whatsoever, and despite being a billionaire. So now he's loose and cuddly. Trump is no longer certifiably insane. Now he's eccentric, like your lovable, adorable, rich uncle who wears a pirate hat to bed. Trump now has soft edges, like he's a pan of fresh-baked brownies. You know what? Maybe Trumpy Bear was right.
The original Trumpy Bear, the fearless, super plush American grizzly. Trumpy Bear was born June 14th, Flag Day.
Yeah, everybody laughed at that. But now the Times finally caught on. Trump's so cute, you want to squeeze him. And not by the throat or his balls anymore. But you get it, right? The media never really believes their political adversaries are evil. It's just how they destroy reputations before moving on. It's like their version of a drive-by shooting, only instead of using guns and bullets to assassinate, they use words and lies. The ends justify the means, even if it tears the country apart and puts half of CNN on unemployment. And no matter who is Hitler on any given day, someone will come along to replace him. And they're counting on you having amnesia about that, just like the guy they put in the White House. Remember, when Trump was running, you know who suddenly became a congenial, more acceptable Republican? Mitt Romney. He became the outspoken statesman who had the guts to criticize Trump. You know, because the enemy of liberals' enemy is their friend. You know, it's the only way Keith Olbermann can make friends. Yet remember, when Mitt was running for president, he was a Batman villain with an MBA who amassed millions by wrecking companies. He was their penguin without the infectious laugh. The media did a huge expose on how he was accused of attacking a classmate and cut off the male student's hair. I didn't know he went to school with Trey Gowdy. He was accused of strapping his sick dog to the roof of his car. The same thing Kat's husband does to her. But for different reasons. Aw. Well, they feel bad about that. And, of course, there was this, Joe calling him a slave owner.
He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
You see? Joe was nuts even back then, when he still had some of his marbles. Of course, while they demonized Mitt, they also said the guys that came before him weren't as bad as they had said they were before. John McCain, who they called a warmongering racist, now a centrist, thoughtful Republican. George W. Bush, who was also compared to Hitler, now seemed more mainstream. Hell, according to the media, he and Michelle Obama became BFFs. He started a war based on a lie, but since he doesn't like Trump, all the media talks about are his paintings. So, like Joe's depends, what the Dems call evil never really changes. I know. I didn't like it when I was reading it. but I have to meet my quota of poop jokes. It's just the latest Republican with serious potential to beat Democrats. Now it's DeSantis' turn because he scares them. Because nothing scares the left like competency. Probably because they've never experienced it themselves. So they pull out all the standard phrases. He looks a lot like a bully and willing to play games with people's lives for the sake of his own ego and advancement. Yeah, they lied about him fudging COVID stats, starting his own fascist police force, and now kidnapping illegal immigrants. Sorry, you big babies, he's not a bully when he punches back. But they did this with everyone, like Wolf Blitzer. This been around forever. It's more proof that this partisan media needs a strong laxative. And now the Times sounds like us. Check out this. What's more, Trump has the skills of a celebrity. He's funny, he has stage presence, and he has a kind of natural charisma. He can persuade an audience that he's just kidding, that he doesn't actually mean it. Wow, that's nice. Finally, they describe Trump the way I describe myself. But we knew about this years ago. I guess the media missed all of that affability, being too busy building a cabal, conjuring up Russian collusion, and pushing the very fine people hoax. They were too busy trying to destroy the guy to see that he wasn't the guy they were destroying. Of course, when you're no longer a threat, the Dems compliment you. But when you're a Republican and the Times calls you respectful and fun, that's like Paul McCartney, being called by Charlie Manson awesome and I dig your music. And you really screwed up if they say you should run for president. But maybe the media and the Democrats should think twice before they decide that you're not such a bad person after all. Remember, it's the same group that lets out murderers. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's the first person I call when I need advice about a rash. Host of Dr. Drew After Dark, it's Dr. Drew. She puts the unity in community with impunity. Host of Sunny's Corner on Sirius XM Patriot, Sunny Johnson. Like a pigeon, if she poops on you, it's good luck. Fox News contributor, Kat Timm. When he's under the weather, that just means he's ducking. My massive sidekick in the NWA World Television Champion, Tyrus. Sonny, how you doing?
It's going to be my birthday tomorrow, so I'm very excited.
Congratulations. For your birthday, I'll call you Hitler.
Oh, good company, good company.
Yes, because that means you've made it, apparently.
Yes, of course. I'm up there with Trump and DeSantis now.
Yeah, what do you make of this? Is this because they see DeSantis as a bigger threat now?
Actually, I think it's just because they're right. DeSantis knows how to use the levers of government in a way that Trump did not. And this is one of the biggest problems with Trump when he came in. It was like he had to hit the learning curve. He had to go in and figure out how to do things. He didn't know where he needed people. He didn't know how to get, if we're looking at the immigration issue, right? I hope you're not counting on Republicans to come and save you, because they're not going to do it. If we remember when Trump came in, who was Trump fighting to get the wall built?
Yeah,
Republicans. They wouldn't give him the money. He had to go and look in the Defense Department and look in all of these different areas trying to scrape up the money. Now, if DeSantis were to become president, you think he's going to have to do that? Or he's going to come in with a plan, knowing how to do it, knowing where to put people strategically in place to make sure that it's done, and then how to follow through with it, how to handle media with it? If you want to take the vitriol out of it and just be honest about it, they're right.
That's a great point.
DeSantis would be way more able to wield power than Trump was, and that scares the hell out of me.
That's a really good point. Or them. Does it scare the hell out of you, too?
No, yes, because DeSantis has flirtation with government and using government force in ways that, as conservatives, we should be like, okay, maybe you should not be doing that. So he does have a fondness for using government at his will and whim as well.
All right, well, I happen to like what he does, as long as it helps me. Speaking of, doctor, before I ask you a question, my left eye keeps...
Is it twitching a little bit, or is it draining?
No, it just keeps watering, and it's like, I don't know, and so it doesn't...
Tear duct. Hot compresses on the tear duct tonight.
Right, because I'm wearing my contacts, and it's like, it never happens to me, and then I sit down here, and all of a sudden I'm like the Native American in that Litter commercial.
It makes you look charming.
Does it make me look sensitive?
Yes.
I think the audience finds it endearing and they want to hug me later.
100%.
Which, by the way, I'm staying at the Hamptons. The inn, not the area. Do you agree with Sonny that basically DeSantis is Trump but a more effective politician?
I think he's a brilliant guy. Isn't he a Rhodes Scholar? Isn't that his heritage? I mean, the guy's a smart guy, but I think there's something wrong with me. Because I don't understand why, if you help undocumented workers get to a sanctuary city, you're an evil person. I thought, and by the way, an island where they have no opportunity to practice their sanctuariness.
Yes.
He's helping them be what they claim to be on a small scale.
Right.
I live in Los Angeles. We have 500,000 undocumented workers. We walk the walk in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You can't even tell when people are coming in anymore. But a little island, they can't handle that? That's confusing to me.
It is confusing to me. Is it confusing to you, Kat?
No.
Good.
I never get confused.
Yeah, it's a rare talent you have. You always speak with clarity and very concise answers that force the host to keep rambling.
He's scared.
Well, I didn't want to be disrespectful.
No, you don't have to be. You can answer a question.
Well, you didn't ask me one, but I can take it from here if you want.
Just kick him.
Yeah. What's interesting watching this unfold is what's going to happen, because this has obviously happened before, as you pointed out, with demonizing Republican after Republican. But what happened with Trump is Republicans took this principled stance against Trump where they made it their whole identity to be like, I'm a Republican, but I'm not for Trump. So now that we're continuing the pattern of demonizing other Republicans, what's going to happen to these people? Are they going to continue to agree that, okay, DeSantis is bad too, all these other Republicans are bad too? It was just a principled stance against Trump specifically? Or are they so addicted to the attention that they're getting from people on the left that they're going to just actually be Democrats but just call themselves Republicans? I'm watching. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, they fell in love with the strange new respect.
Yeah.
And by the way,
I went through it.
Yeah.
When I made some criticisms of Trump, I had some Blink-182 guy follow me, and I was so excited. Then I start tweeting about guns, boom, unfollowed.
it's exactly what happened in 2015 when critical of Trump. You get all these little fans that are like celebrities, and you could like totally get with it, and then you go like, I wonder what happens if I say this, and they all run away.
Go talk about a colony on the dark side of the moon, and Tom will find you.
Yeah. Oh, I love Tom. He was the best one.
I know.
What are you guys talking about?
Tom DeLonge, Blink-182, duh.
Well, you know what? I think this was on Red Eye once. Should we end this conversation, Tyler?
I'm begging you to.
Something thoughtful. Round it all out for us.
You know what? DeSantis may be the perfect Republican, but I like the disruptor in chief. I like the fact that he didn't trust anyone because most politicians are dirty. When he said drain the swamp, he didn't say the Democratic swamp. And he punked, let's be real. Let's be real. And the reason why they privately didn't like him was, and not publicly, is because he had the transcripts. He wasn't afraid to go, are you questioning me? Well, didn't you do this? And didn't you ask me for money in this year? Because he didn't need any of them. People were behind him because he was different, because he was not a politician. The problem is we have too many politicians in the government, and we need more people who are walking in like, we got to clean this place up.
Right, yeah. And
that's why you liked him.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I had to come around to him because I was conflating his personality with his deeds, but he hadn't done the deeds yet.
Yeah.
Then I liked the deeds, but he didn't get all the deeds done.
You do, if you account for the learning curve, that's why you only got 4 years.
Yeah.
You didn't get 8.
Speaking of counting, how many more curse words we got tonight? You've already used 4.
We have 4 left.
Okay, I'm counting.
You
on a
expected
second.
to go off, Doc?
I was thinking I might.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.